Hi guys, so before we start with the Q&A, I just wanted to let you know that I have made a survey that I've called Video Improvement Survey. There's only 6 questions and I would really appreciate it if you guys just took 2 minutes out of your day to fill this in for me. It will really help me when I'm making future videos, just to know what you guys are kind of into, what you're enjoying, what you're not, etc, etc. So I will leave a link for that in the description, and there will be a card at the top of the video as well for you to click on. Thank you. As always, someone out there is drilling. I've shut my window, there's nothing I can do, so if you can hear it, very sorry. Hi guys, I hope you're all doing really well. Now what week would it be now? Last week or the week before? I can't really remember. I did a video for my 4-year YouTube anniversary and I did a giveaway, and I asked you guys to ask me some questions so I could do a Q&A. So that is what I'm doing. A lot of the comments I got with questions attached to them also had like really lovely messages. I'm not going to read them because I'll probably just get really emotional, even though I've read them already, but I will probably just feel very emotional reading them. I'm going to attempt to answer all of the questions because I didn't get like a huge amount, and I think it's pretty doable, and questions were asked more than once, so I think we can do it. But I do have a tendency to ramble a lot, so this potentially could be a pretty long video. Which is your most watched video from the last 4 years? So if I just go onto my app, my most watched video is my testing Poundland makeup £10 makeup challenge. That has 167,000 views. That's mad. 167,000 people have seen me really craply apply makeup. That is so scary. What is your main goal in the future or life in general? I'm not the sort of person that sets a lot of goals for myself, because I feel like if I do that and it doesn't happen, I'll just be really hard on myself and be like, you never did this and you said you was going to do it. So I would just really generalize it and just say my main goal is to overall succeed in something in life, whether that's a job or having a family or anything, because I feel like just having a child is success enough. So just anything that makes me happy, I suppose. I would just like to feel happy and content in life, and then I would feel like goal done. My question is, how do you stay positive on bad days? So I've had quite a few questions regarding this and sort of anxiety. So this kind of ties in with like, I've also been asked like how you stay positive, how do you deal with your anxiety. So yeah, I've had a couple questions regarding anxiety and how I stay positive, which is interesting because I don't actually think I am a person who gives off a particularly positive vibe. My thing is, I just think that you need to accept that it's okay to have a shit day, and it's okay to not have a particularly positive outlook. Like, for example, like I'm a massive pessimist. Like, I always see the worst in things, I never see the positives. And I'm just overly anxious, awkward individual. But like I said, you just need to accept and allow yourself to have bad days, and just think to yourself, today is just a day where I'm gonna let myself feel shit. Tomorrow hopefully I'll feel a bit better. If I don't, that's okay too. But you also need to then recognise, if every day is feeling like a bad day, you probably need to do something about it. But on my bad days, I just let myself have them. I just don't beat myself up about it. I allow myself to like just sit in bed and watch Netflix with a cup of tea and maybe have a little cry, you know, maybe whatever. Like, I don't feel like I've answered this question very well, because I find anxiety quite a difficult thing to talk about, because I find it quite hard to word things when it comes to it. But yeah, just don't beat yourself up about it. If you're having a bad day, that's fine. It's okay to have a bad day. I think 2 people asked me this. What is your favourite makeup brand to use, and like your all-time favourite makeup brand? I don't think I have an all-time favourite makeup brand. I'm kind of a bit of a player when it comes to makeup. I switch around everything all the time. I like, do you know what though, like I also just don't really get into like the sciences of makeup. Like I don't think, oh, this is a really good consistency and stuff like that. So I don't really know. I mean, I guess I really like Colourpop lip liners. I think the Colourpop lip liners have a really nice consistency, so that would be my favourite for like that. I've always had Rimmel foundations in my life ever since I started wearing makeup, but then my favourite foundation isn't from Rimmel, so I don't know. I find this a really hard question to answer for someone that's not a massive makeup buff or like a massive makeup lover. I will always maintain that MUA is a wicked budget makeup brand. I really like a lot of Essence stuff at the moment as well. I find a lot of the time Essence is what I go to. So yeah, I feel like I've answered that slightly poorly, but makeup isn't like a massive thing for me anymore. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? I would, if you disregard everything that you see in the news, I would love to go to America. I would love to like road trip so much of America. New York is something that's always been on my bucket list, so cliche. Yeah, and still like disregarding everything that's going on in the world, I would love to see, I've always really wanted to go to like Prague and Helsinki. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about these places, but whenever I've seen pictures I'm like, oh my god, that looks insane, I really want to go there. And there's also so much of this country that I'd love to see, and so much of like the UK. Like I'd love to see a lot of Ireland. I would love to, I think I've been to Scotland only once, so I would love to go to Edinburgh and some more rural places. Like I'm actually more of a rural person than a city person. I love staying, like going on holiday to little villages and stuff rather than like the big hustle and bustle of the city. So yeah, I don't know. New York is probably the number one, even though I just said I don't like the hustle and bustle of the city. My question is, when do you think you will take your driving test? I know when I'm going to take my driving test. It is booked and has been ever since I took my theory test in June. I think we booked it after I took my theory. I'm not telling anyone when I'm taking it because I feel like it just adds a hell of a lot of pressure, but I will say it is in September and I'm really scared. It's just the scariest thing in the world to me. I really don't want to do it, if I'm honest. I really would just like to call it quits now on driving and be like, do you know what, I've learnt how to drive, it's fine. I know how to do it, but I'm just not legally allowed to do it. My question is, what is the reason you joined YouTube? I joined YouTube because I was watching a lot of YouTube and I was really enjoying, I have answered this question before I think, so it is like the same answer as before, it hasn't changed. I joined it because I was watching a lot of people who had formed friendships from YouTube. So like they were meeting up with people that they'd never met before and just bonding over like a mutual thing, if that makes sense. I never joined it to have it as my job or anything like that. I literally just joined it because I saw that people were making friends from it and I thought that was really cool. I haven't really made any friends from it, like not in real life, so it hasn't really gone my way, but that was why I joined. And also I needed a hobby as well because I was just, at the time when I joined, I was just doing the voluntary work in the charity shop. So I had a lot of time on my hands. Next question is, where do you see yourself in a year? I'm not going to answer this in the way it was asked, so I'm going to answer it and say where I'm hoping I will be. I think I would like to see myself with a new job doing something that I enjoy. It doesn't necessarily have to be the dream job, but as long as it's a job that I'm happy to get out of bed in the morning for, then that would be pretty cool. And yeah, because that's like the main thing I think I need to sort out in my life. I think that's all I can really hope for. If you could see any musician, dead or alive, who would it be? Okay, any musician, dead or alive. I'm gonna pick 3 because I can't pick. Nirvana, Queen with Freddie Mercury obviously, and David Bowie, when they were all in like the top of like the height of their careers. Do you have any big plans set in place for the rest of the year? I actually do. I'm doing something really scary in November. I actually booked this back in July, just before I went on my holiday. Virgin Trains were doing a mega cheap sale on train tickets, so I actually booked myself a ticket to Liverpool. I'm going on Friday and coming back on a Monday. I'm going to Liverpool all by myself on the train. I'm going to stay in an Airbnb or something. I haven't really arranged that far yet because thinking about it actually makes me a bit anxious. Yeah, I'm going to Liverpool and it's mad. I did it like on a spur of the moment thing. I was like, do you know what, I'm going to go for it, because it is good to face your fears, and there certainly will be a fear of mine. There's so much I can't do when I'm out and about. I'm like lazy, so say I'm like with my dad or something, I'll say to him, oh, can you go talk to that person for me, like order my drink or whatever it is. So I think it will be really good for me to go out on my own and do it. I've never been to Liverpool. I have never travelled that far by myself. I've never stayed anywhere by myself. But I think, you know, I'm 23. Shit needs to be done. My mum just came home from the dentist and she's had a tooth out, so I just had to go see how she was, and I've totally forgotten where I was. What question was I on? Oh yeah, so I was saying, yeah, I've never even like walked around London by myself. Like, I've just basically like got on one train to Victoria, then a tube to somewhere, and then someone's like just met me at the station. Like, I've never walked around London on my own, apart from Westfields and Stratford, but I don't feel like that really counts. So yeah, that's really scary. I also don't know if I'll be able to afford it when the time comes. Like, I'll have to start like saving for somewhere to stay, otherwise I won't be able to go. But the ticket from London to Liverpool only cost me like £22 or something. Obviously I've still got to get a ticket from where I live to London, but yeah, it was really cheap. Same person also asks, would you ever do collabs? I have actually done one collab many years ago. I think it was in 2014, but it was kind of the collab where you don't meet up with the person and you both basically do the same video and shout each other out. I'm not really into those sort of collabs. I don't really see the point in calling them collabs. I find them a bit strange, to be honest. I would definitely do collabs if I like had friends that made videos or something, but obviously have no plans to do so in the future, like in the near future, but I'd be open to it. I'd like to know if you've ever been in love. I've never had a boyfriend, so it's kind of a tricky one. When I was a teenager, I sort of like, I don't know, I had something with someone that I suppose was close to being in love, but probably wasn't. It was just like a mad teenage infatuation, I suppose. But so I don't really think I've ever been in love. No, I think I would know if I had. So no, never been in love. What's your favourite shop? So probably Primark. Probably just gonna pick the first one that comes to my head and say Primark. Okay, so the next person asked me quite a few questions. One of them I already answered, so I'll just start with the second one, which is, what are your fears? I've never really had any fears, like, you know, a lot of people are scared of like spiders or just certain animals or things like that. My fears are a little bit deep. So I'm terrified of dying, especially like dying young. I've always had like a sort of really bad feeling, like a premonition that something really terrible is going to happen to me fairly early on in my life and I'm going to die in a horrendous way. Also, obviously, equally as just as scared as losing a family member that's like really close to me, like losing my parents. Sometimes that thought just occurs to me and I get really, really upset, and it's something that I like dwell over a lot. So yeah, just like dying, getting really ill. I don't like planes. The thought of being on a plane and deciding I don't want to be on it anymore and not being able to because you're in the air and obviously they're not going to stop the plane for you, that freaks me out so much. I have been on planes, but probably not since I was about 7. The idea of getting on one now freaks me out a lot. I guess those are like my main fears, that, and well, I'm really scared of like terrorism and stuff as well, but yeah, my fears are, unfortunately, well, basically all my fears are basically things that are gonna happen eventually, and that's just great, because like, you know, a lot of people are scared of like a lion or something. Like, you don't have to come in contact with a lion if you don't want to, but I do have to die at some point, which is great. I'm gonna have to face all my fears at some point in my life. Do you have goals for certain stages in your life, i.e. to achieve something by 25, 30, 40, etc.? This kind of relates to a question I've already answered. So no, not really, because I feel like I'd be setting myself up for disappointment when I didn't go through with the goal. If I would have answered this when I was like 16, I would have said that I would have liked to have had my first child by the age of 25, but considering the fact that I'm 23 and never had a boyfriend, I would say that's a pretty slim chance of happening. But obviously that's not my goal now because I'm seeing it from a more realistic angle. Do you believe in the paranormal / things unknown? Yes and no. I sort of have a kind of thought that like I'll believe it when I see it sort of thing, because you can't ever really 100% trust like things you see on TV and stuff like that. I've personally never had a feeling or anything like that in my life where I thought maybe I've seen a ghost or maybe there's something else in the room with me. But I know that like my mum and my sister have, and my brain just thinks, well, you completely trust them, why would they lie about it? So I'm definitely open to the idea of it, but I've never experienced it, so I'm sort of on the fence about it, I suppose. What are your style tips? Now, I don't consider myself to be someone that has a particularly great sense of style, but I would say that my style tips would be always wear whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I don't mean like feeling comfy, I just mean something that you feel good in, good about yourself. So just basically don't care about what anyone else thinks, like just wear what you want to wear. But on the same page as like what I said about being comfy, like you do want to be comfortable, physically comfortable as well. Like I hate it when I go out and I end up wearing jeans that are too tight. That's the worst. Another tip would be to don't be afraid to experiment. That's something I'm not particularly good at. I always buy things with the intention of being experimental and never actually having the balls to wear them because I don't feel comfortable in it. So I guess I need to lighten up a bit when it comes to that. But another style tip would be, if you're ever unsure what to wear, a good pair of jeans, like a slogan tee or something, and a leather jacket is always going to be a winner. Either with like a pair of boots, even a pair of heels. Like, I know heels aren't really a day-to-day thing though. Trainers, anything. A leather jacket can always just complete a look as well, and they pretty much go with everything. So if you're ever like not entirely confident in the outfit you're wearing, or you want to make it a little bit edgier, a leather jacket will always do that for you. What is the most stupid way you've ever hurt yourself? Do you remember when wedge sandals without a back were really trendy? Obviously if you're a bit young you might not. I'll try and insert a picture of the sort of shoe I mean. So I was invited to like a birthday party at like, what would it be called? A soft play centre or something, except it's for like kids, not toddlers. So like it's got it had a ball pit and like basically just activities to do. I feel like you're supposed to take your shoes off in those places, but I obviously didn't, and I went in the ball pit wearing these ridiculous shoes. I basically managed to have my foot flat and my leg up like this, and I was basically walking on my foot. I can't really describe it. My foot was like flat to the ground but twisted. I don't know, it was all twisted, and I hadn't noticed because it had basically gone numb from the pain, and I hadn't really noticed the pain. And then I came out and my foot was at this angle, my leg was like, I don't know, it was all crazy. And I had ended up spraining my toe or something. I don't really remember, but all I remember was there was a sprain, there was wedge sandals and a ball pit. I don't really remember the ins and outs, but I do remember my foot and my leg being like all messed up. What would you like to do as a new job or career? Sort of going back to what I said before, I suppose. I'm come to the conclusion that I don't think I care too much about what I'm doing as long as I'm enjoying doing it, because I spent such a long time not enjoying what I was doing. That it would just be nice to know what it's like to wake up and go to work and have a good day, if you know what I mean, because I've just got no idea what it is I want to do, which makes it really hard when it comes to looking for jobs and stuff, because I've just got no clue. It's been like what, 3 months or something, and I'm still none the wiser as to what I'm gonna do. Who is your best friend? I don't particularly really have any friends, like, so I don't have a best one. This makes me sound so lame, but like literally I've said this before, like I left school, lost contact with everyone, and then didn't do anything with my life for 2 years, so I wasn't going out and meeting people, and then I started working in a shop with people that were old enough to be my parents and grandparents. So although I do consider people from my old job to be friends, they're not like my friends, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna go out on the town with them and have them stay over my house for the night and stuff like that. Like, so although I do consider them to be friends, they're not my friends. So that sounds really harsh, but I know what I mean. So yeah, I don't have a best friend. Okay, this is the last question. What is the worst / hardest video you've ever done? The worst video is basically anything from the first couple of years where I was just so awkward and didn't know how to be in front of a camera. Not that I'm particularly how to do that now, but yeah, I've actually not that long ago privated a lot of videos from the first couple of years, but so I would just say they're generally my worst ones because they're just really shit. In terms of hardest videos to make, there wouldn't be a specific one, but basically any video where, mainly vlogs I would say, probably just vlogs, any vlog where I'm having like an anxious day are the hardest ones, because I don't want to be filming, but I feel like it's good to do it, to show all sides to myself, I suppose. But I remember a couple of weeks ago there was a day where I just didn't feel good. I don't really remember, but I remember I was like close to crying. So that was pretty hard to make, and I found it quite hard to watch myself editing it as well. It's not nice to see yourself like that, but I don't know, I always end up putting them up anyway. Like, I do have the option obviously not to upload those parts, but I always do. I'm not sure why. I suppose it's just good to show all parts of your life. So yeah, basically any vlog where I'm a bit upset or anxious, etc. are the hardest ones to make. It was really hard making my first video after going on like a little hiatus last year. I took like 2 months off or something, and then I think the first video I did when I came back was a Primark haul. That was really hard to make, just in terms of I hadn't spoken to a camera in such a long time, so that was hard for that reason. Oh, I feel like I've just had a really good like therapy session. I feel like I've just let everything out and it feels pretty good. That was my Q&A. It was kind of a deep Q&A really. We got down to some nitty gritty bits of my life. And I spoke for way too long, and we'll see how long this is at the end. And that is everything. I'm gonna shut the hell up now because I've actually had a sore throat since yesterday, and all this talking definitely wouldn't have helped. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to anyone that asked me a question, entered the giveaway. It really means the world to me. Thank you. Please, you know, like the video, subscribe, turn on the notifications, all of that jazz. Leave me more comments. I love reading your guys' comments. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.